And earlier today, I spoke with Wade Miller, Executive Director of the think tank Citizens for Renewing America, for his view on the election results. Wade Miller, welcome to our show. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me on.
Now, it's looking like that red wave Republicans were expecting is not materializing. You spent more than a decade working with the conservative grassroots movement, campaigns, and public policy development in Washington and on Capitol Hill. What do you make of the results so far?
Sure. So I agree. I don't think that there was a red wave. I was always a little bit pessimistic that there would be one, simply because I thought there was a little bit of an over-reliance on the economic arguments and the inflation arguments. And those, that necessitates a conversation about the Fed, consumer price index. And I think there was some confusion about what's really going on there and who is to completely blame. And I think that we over-relied on that and under-relied on some of the issues like the border, the radicalism of the woke and weaponized agenda of the left. And I don't think that that was really put to the forefront in a national sense. And so when people talk about candidate selection, whether you were an establishment Republican, a conservative Republican, a MAGA Republican, the trend was basically the same. We saw the basic same kind of lackluster performance. So I don't think it was about any type of endorsements or any type of specific type of candidate. I think it was just a lack of the Republican Party to provide a unifying vision that really resonated with voters and gave them an excuse to actually stop what they're doing with their daily lives, to actually go out, get their friends, and to go vote and be excited about doing so. And then the other thing that I think you saw is that there was a higher turnout amongst younger voters who, again, have been through K through 12 and college leftist propaganda, and they're left-leaning voter demographics right now. And I think that coupled with the fact that the entire redistricting process that we just went through, a year or so ago, has created a new dynamic where there's fewer gettable seats. So you really need, in order to have a wave, you really need to outperform in ways that we hadn't performed in 2010 and other wave elections. We need to actually do better now than those years to have the same type of impact, because there's just not as many purple seats anymore.
In Florida, there was a red wave, and it's credited to a range of factors. One of those could be Governor Ron DeSantis removing COVID-era voting laws that typically help Democrats, for example, around mail-in ballots. How much of a role do you think this played?
100%. If you remember, Governor DeSantis, when he first won, he didn't win by a huge margin. This was a very purple, if not left-leaning state. He has demonstrated that that it's not just talking about culture. It's actually using the power you have as an executive of a state and going after the woke and weaponized abuse of power, the corrupting influence of these agendas and policies and ideas on corporate America, on government institutions at the local and state level. And he actually he attacked it, and he defended parents, he defended students, he defended their economy, he defended businesses. And I think voters saw that, and what you saw, and he saw, and this happened in a way that has not happened elsewhere. So if you look at Texas, for instance, Governor Abbott and statewide leaders there had previously been winning by 15 or 20 points in past election cycles. They won by 10 or 12 this time. And so I think that what that shows you is that if you lead like a Governor DeSantis, you're going to change a state's demographics generationally to the right, because people are inspired by that leadership. And what's happening in other places like Texas is they're just treading water. It's the same old stuff. They're not inspiring people. And so they're slowly losing their lead because they're not inspiring a new generation. And they're not actually using the power that they have to affect outcomes that voters want. And so voters in Texas, for instance, want the state to declare an invasion and to use Article 1, Section 10, Clause 3 to defend their borders and to secure it. And so far, he's refused to do that. Voters see that lack of action, and then they see Governor DeSantis in Florida actually leading the way and providing innovative solutions and actually using his power to do good things. And I think that that's two different dynamics, and we saw it play out last night throughout America.